All right, I believe he can't really get me clearly, of course, walking offshore there. But of course, Hussein Mohammed will be speaking to us later on as he gathers enough information traversing the city in Meru County traversing the county of Meru to just give us updates on how that particular process is ongoing. And joining me in studio now is Kevin Osido. Thank you very much for coming in. You have been watching this since morning. We have been on air since 6 a.m. How would you so far describe the Jubilee primaries?
This is, in my view, unfortunate. It is disgusting. And it must be absolutely disappointing to Jubilee party members because I remember that early this week, we were here and you were wondering what lessons we can learn, and especially Jubilee Party, the lessons that therefore they could learn from what already happened with CORD or NASA or ODM.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it looks like, as we already made our thesis, that Kenyans, we do not learn, and if we learn, we probably learn the wrong lessons. And it is evident in what's happening with Jubilee. This is unfortunate. And I think we need to therefore begin to move to the levels where party members can begin to ask very difficult questions to their leadership. But
given that the very situation that we are seeing in the Jubilee primaries is a replica of what we saw in the various nomination exercises we've seen in ODM, what does this say about us in terms of preparing for such events as a people?
It looks like people were not prepared. And I think that IEBC, as the electoral management body, provided a timeline, which is their sole mandate, to be able to provide timelines within which aspirants and political parties therefore can be able to have themselves put together to be able to undertake such a very important exercise. And it moving to the level where we are of course, observing this amount of confusion in the Jubilee, and especially after they already came up and called ODM and CORD and NASA names and said we will not do an exercise similar to what these people have done. And then they even, I think in my view, they're even performing worse because they had a blank marking scheme. They had all the answers within their space to be able to make things better. So what therefore this means or portends to us as Kenyans is that good preparation meets planning. And if you want to achieve better results, the most important thing that we must be able to do is, once we have the timelines, we must begin to work backwards. If a nomination exercise is going to be carried to be undertaken on 21st of April, what does it mean 3 months ago? Yeah. And it looks like, and I've been watching even the chair of the Jubilee National Elections Board doing too much of the talk, but I don't think he even had a hands-on grip on what is actually happening in their counties or in their constituencies.
All right. Bomet is another typical example of the confusion we're just talking about. We'll just be speaking to our reporter, Duncan Haemba. There has been confusion in Bomet County this morning after the Jubilee National Elections Board Chairman, Andrew Musangi, ordered that the primaries continue as scheduled, reversing last night's agreement by the contestants that the vote be postponed due to lack of adequate ballot material. Musangi says enough ballot material has now been provided and voting should go on as scheduled. Let's now bring in our senior political reporter, Duncan Haemba, who's joining us live from Bomet County. Good morning, Duncan. Has that confusion been resolved yet?
Not a good morning, Akisa. The confusion yet to be resolved because, as you've said, that is the communication coming from Jubilee Election Board Chair, Mr. Musangi. But here on the ground, that is not happening. Remember that earlier on I was at Bomet Township Primary School and there was no single official on the ground either to receive the ballot material or those that would be actually ferrying the ballot materials to that particular polling station. Right now, I'm in the heart of Bomet town and the confusion is there for all to see, but I have some of the aspirants here. Bwana Patrick, the National Elections Board inasema, Bwana Towet, the National Elections Board inasema uchaguzi unaendelea na kama aspirants hamuna powers ya kucall off. Kwa hivyo, as per the Jubilee Election Board, the Bomet nominations are underway. Is that the position?
Yeah, we met yesterday as aspirants and agreed that we postponed until Tuesday. Sai nimeona Tucho ameandika barua kusema inaendelea, uchaguzi inaendelea. Inaendelea aje? Na hata maboxes haijaingia. Nimeambiwa gari iko pande hiyo ya Narok, haijafika Bomet. So mambo ya Tuju kuandika mabarua akijua kwamba hakuna boxes imefika Bomet, it's not in order. So raia wameenda huko, hakuna kitu inaendelea. Secretary General amesema tumepostpone. Nimeongea na yeye asubuhi. Sasa the correct position is there is no election going on here in Bomet as we speak now. Hakuna. Wenye wangepiga kura ni hawa, hakuna watu wengine. So they are here. Na wameacha kazi ingine, wamekuja hapa. So confusion, Nairobi iko completely detached na Bomet. Watu wa Nairobi wangangane na Nairobi because hakuna kitu tunajua hapa. More than that.
Wewe maoni yako, what do you say, because the elections board inasema as far as they're concerned Bomet nominations are underway and everything has been actually facilitated. Wamesema kuna enough material na kila kitu and distribution is taking place. That is the communication from Mr. Musangi.
Kulingana na vile tuliongea jana, mimi ni moja kati ya wale ambao ni officials za Jubilee katika Bomet County. Sisi jana tumepatana na aspirants wote na tukaona hii mambo iko na ujanja. Ikabidi tuangalie hiyo ballot papers, ballot boxes, na tukaona zingine hazikuwa zinajaa. Tukasema hatuwezi endelea kwa maana tunapenda watu wetu wa Bomet, hatutaki furuku Bomet. Bomet kuna jamaa ingine ambayo tunapikana nayo na hatuko tunataka furuku itokee. Kwa hivyo Tuju anaweza andika, aandike, hata andike 10. Alazimishe, aendelee kulazimisha. Lakini ile kitu ambayo sisi tunasema ni kwamba wananchi tulikuwa tayari kupika kura. Lakini vile Jubilee wamefail kuleta vitu ya kutumia kupika kura, tunangojea. Na kama kutakuwa na kitu yoyote ambayo hawa Nairobi wanasema, Nairobi is not Bomet. And our friend Tuju, he can issue statement even 10 times. But let me assure him, there will be nobody will vote until that date we said it will be on 25th, which is next Tuesday. If they are ready, let them come that day by Tuesday. Na isitoshe, the whole of last week, the whole of last month, our communication from the office walikuwa wanaongea kwamba wanaongea na Nairobi. Na Nairobi walikuwa wanatuambia kila kitu iko sawa, kila kitu iko sawa. To an extent whereby our chairman alikuwa anataka kwenda kupatana na watu. Hao watu wakaambia kila kitu it's in place, it's in place. But to our surprise, jana hizi vitu kufika hatukuona chochote.
Kwa hivyo what is the way forward? Manake the election board inasema wenyewe hawaja call off muendelee. Nyinyi mnasema hakuna chochote. Kuna wengine wanasema material imefika, hakuna magari ya distribution. How do we resolve this, because as of Nairobi things should be working on?
Kwanza Tuju lazima ajue kitu moja. Hawa aspirants walilipa pesa yao ya nomination na wakalipa ya nomination. Sasa mbona sasa mpaka jana wacha toa pesa ya kufanya hiyo kazi? Hakuna mtu mwenye ako hapa anaweza toa kari yake bila kulipwa. Na watu wanatuambia eti mchukue, tunachukua na mikono. Tunachukua na mikongo. Hata kama Tuju anaona hiyo kazi ni rahisi, hata yeye mwenyewe akuja hapa achukue hizo vitu na apepe. Alafu tuende tupige kura huko. Asikae Nairobi atuambie eti yesika. Kwa hivyo kama anaona yeye aendelee. Na kama yeye ni mtu wa hapa akuja piga kura. Lakini kama yeye si mtu wa Nairobi aendelee kukaa Nairobi, angoje wananchi wa Bomet waamue. Kwa hivyo sisi
those are the sentiments from some of the aspirants here, but I understand that is the position. The same happens. I hear it could be the same happening in Kericho County. And now hand you over to my colleague Jeff Kirui, who is still in Belgut constituency. Kirui, if you can hear me, over to you.
Well, thank you, Haemba. Indeed, I'm here at Sociod Girls Secondary School, Belgut Sub-County, where residents are actually milling outside the gates of this particular secondary school. They are threatening to force their way in. And with me here, I have aspirants who are actually, they want to give a joint statement about the exercise. There might be actually a possibility of actually postponing this exercise. And let's just hear from them, this joint statement from them, and tell us the way forward regarding the exercise. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Jeff. My name is Nelson Koech. I'm an aspirant here, Member of Parliament. As you've seen, we already have a problem. We've been held hostage because of shortage of ballot material, the ballot papers of different polling stations.
All right, we will definitely be clearing out that link by Jeff Kirui, who's joining us from Kericho. As he says, aspirants are just about to issue a joint statement, and they seem to be disgruntled by the whole process that began in the morning. Looks like it is a replica of the situation as it happens in Bomet. Let's just go back then and listen to what exactly the aspirants are saying.
The party has given us a problem as it is, and I think we've all agreed in principle to postpone the exercise until further date.
All right. Well, maybe we can also get it from Eric Keter, who is the member of parliament of Belgut constituency, to tell us about the way forward about this exercise. Remember, this is a joint statement by all the aspirants in Belgut constituency regarding this nomination exercise. Well, thank you, Mheshimiwa.
The people of Belgut and the entire people of Kericho County, this is Honorable Eric Keter Milimani, the MB for Belgut. I now intend to give the following statement regarding the voting exercise of today. First, may I make it very clear, I am an aspirant of Jubilee Party. We love the Jubilee Party because of development. However, as I said before, there were plans and there are plans to rig nomination. 2, my name was omitted and transferred as a candidate in Kipkelion West. And at that time, I tried to correct in the headquarters. No correction was made, and it has given us a lot of anxiety in the constituency. Third, I complained to the party to restore my name. Today, we are witnessing a very serious omission, a very serious mistake. That is, we have very few ballot papers in almost everywhere, almost all the polling stations in Belgut. For example, in Sociot, where we have 1,300, we have...
All right, that is Kericho. The aspirants there seemingly asking for a postponement of the exercise, decrying the inadequate voting material. The same situation we have just seen in Bomet County, as we have been briefed by our senior political reporter, Duncan Haemba. And let's now take a look at what really is at stake in Kericho County. What exactly are the people there battling out? So let's see some of the big names that we expect to see in Kericho County before we go back to Jeff Kirui for more updates, as he will be telling us more on that. So the gubernatorial aspirants, the incumbent Paul Chepkwony Kiprono, will be facing an assault, will be seeking to survive an assault from Langat Richard Kipkoech, Kipngetich Frederick Kirui, who is an engineer, and Benjamin Kip Kirui. And of course, the incumbent has time and again sworn an allegiance to the Deputy President, William Ruto, and this has been seen to boost his numbers. But today is a D-Day for him to see whether he will survive this onslaught from the three gentlemen who seek to replace him, not only on the Jubilee ticket, but also when we get to the August 8th polls, as they will be squaring it out by other people from the other parties who will be fronting candidates for the Kericho County race or the Kericho County gubernatorial race. Let's go to our other slide and see some of the other names we have on the senatorial aspirants. The incumbent Aaron Kipkirui Cheruiyot will be facing Franklin Bett, Kipngetich Arap, and Samikos Gay. Franklin Bett is not new to the political names, and it seems to be not a walk in the park for Aaron Cheruiyot as he seeks to retain his seat as a senator of Kericho County. It is a three-horse race, as if I could call it that, in Kericho's senatorial race. But the women rep aspirants, we have Ngeni Lucy Chebet, Rotich Susan Chepkemoy, Ketera Priscilla Chelegat, and Chepkoech Beatrice. This is another seat that has attracted a lot of aspirants across the board, not only in Kericho County, but in every other county. We've seen so many women have come up asking to to fight out to get this particular seat. And of course, it starts from the party ticket. And of course, we have more. We have Bore Florence, Chepngetich, Chemutai, To Millicent, and Chepkwony Helen Chelegat. So 7 women will be squaring it out to get the Jubilee Party ticket for the position of women rep as we head into the August 8th elections in just 108 days. So let's take a look at some of the constituencies we have in Kericho County. We have Kipkelion East, Kipkelion West, Aina Moi. And of course, the Member of Parliament for Aina Moi is seeking to be the governor, and he will also be squaring it out to be the next for the Jubilee Party ticket, to fly that ticket into the gubernatorial race. We also have Bureti Belgut, where Jeff Kirui currently is, as well as a Sigowet. That's about just some information you need to know about Kericho County as we take a look at these party primaries as they are ongoing. So back into studio, my guest is Kevin Osido, who is helping me analyze this particular party primaries as we have seen. So let's talk about Bomet. Yep. Aspirants say they will not take to the ballot, and they've asked their supporters not to vote. But communication from the head office here, from the National Elections Board, is that everything is fine. They will be taking to the ballot. What do you make of this?
I see lots of disenfranchisement from the people, and this will actually play. There will be a ripple effect into how this moves on to the August 8th. Because you note that some of the aspirants already said that we are facing very stiff competition, and I guess that's from the current governor of Bomet, Honorable Isaac Ruto, who is apparently now moved into NASA. Now, how that plays is, I don't think that Jubilee was prepared, because you note that political parties have been zoning areas. They say this is our zone, and so there is no other parties, or there are no other candidates from other coalitions that are therefore going to come into these areas. And I think that that is a very strong message that Jubilee should be thinking about. How do we move on to be able to not only encourage the members, but also ensure that the ground is properly set for them, even as we move on to the general elections. On the other hand, again, they are complaining about preparedness, in the sense that ballot materials have not reached the sub-county or the constituency. It leaves a lot of questions to ask, because as I said earlier on, the officials of the party, including the president himself, made an address to the nation, and of course particularly to the members of Jubilee, and he assured them that everything is sorted, we are ready to go, and my office is as open to all aspirants to seek appeal or to seek advice, to seek whatever kind of solutions. And I am looking forward to what kind of statement His Excellency the President, as the party leader of Jubilee, will be making even as this exercise moves on. And finally, we note that again they told us that they were going to have nominations in one day. Of course, they heeded to all the voices that were saying it is not possible. And you note that, again, they might even end up doing it in 4 days if this is how the trend is going to be set for the 47 counties.
Earlier on, when we were having a conversation, you mentioned something very important, that members of the National Elections Board are issuing statements without really having a feel of what is on the ground. We've had an aspirant who was speaking to our reporter, Duncan Haemba, say that members of that board are issuing statements, but they don't know what exactly is going on the ground, and they're very disgruntled about what is happening. Is there a disconnect between the National Elections Board and the aspirants and officials on the ground?
Definitely there is. And as part of the design of political party nominations, there needs to be different preparatory meetings to prepare for different things at different levels, in the sense that security meetings should have taken place. And I think already I can applaud lots of not only political parties, but even Kenyans for maintaining resilience and acting peaceful, to be able not to be aggrieved by what is happening. But if you look at, in terms of political party frameworks and what their guidance insofar as preparations for the nominations is concerned, I think they are scoring less than 30% in my view, because they knew that we are going to elections on August 8th, and that IEBC as the EMB has already set up guidelines. And so, as I again said earlier on, how do we work backwards to be able to ensure that we have ballot papers, we have ballot materials, we have everything is set. And again, you note that even the primary officials who are on ground are not members of those constituencies. They are people who've been transferred for this particular exercise.
So they don't understand
exactly.
what is
and that is
dynamics.
even worse because in as much as the idea, of course, is to try and deal with conflict of interest and other related issues, but they have no grasp of who these people are, what is expected to happen. They're receiving instructions from some office up somewhere. And we're just coming from Migori. We were there to be able to monitor and observe the NASA nominations in Migori, which were
the ODM nominations.
Yes, I mean ODM nominations, which have been called off until next week on Monday. But talking to the citizens, you could tell that in terms of communication to the members, there is nothing going on. And from NASA, you could tell, from ODM, you could tell that the biggest contention was which list are we going to use? Is it the IEBC register or is it our party register? For Jubilee, it is evidently clear that there is absolutely no preparation, holistically speaking, because it is almost 10 o'clock.
Yes.
These guys have been there. In fact, some of them probably did not even sleep last night.
Some say they've been there since 4 a.m.
I've been in touch with people in Kiambu County. They have been there the whole night waiting for ballot papers. The security officers have been keeping vigil and looking forward to how this exercise is going to unfold. But honestly speaking, I think this is not proper for Jubilee because this is more or less like the government of the day. And if this is how they are going to run their affairs, I think it's going to be an exercise that might be futile as they move on to be able to seek for re-election. And it begins from the point where their members are being disenfranchised, as we can be able to see. This is unfair, and if I was a Jubilee member or I was in a position to be able to advise, I would say the preparation was not properly done.
All right, we're getting back to that. It seems that in Eldoret, the situation is almost similar to what is being witnessed in Bomet and Kericho County. The aspirants are currently addressing the press. They're issuing a statement. Seems to be some disgruntlement about how the process is ongoing in Uasin, Gishu County. Let's now bring in our reporter, Elvis Koskei, who's joining us from there with updates.
Thank you very much. They are in studio, and indeed, as you can see, more than 330 aspirants across Uasin Gishu County are seated down, including Uasin Gishu Governor Jackson Mandago. The Jubilee aspirants from 3 counties have expressed their dissatisfaction with the party headquarters for what they termed as unpreparedness in the exercise, because a similar situation has been witnessed in the county of Nandi, Elgeyo Marakwet, and here in Uasin Gishu.
You for more updates.
Madam,
All right, Elvis, as they organize themselves to issue that particular press briefing, just tell us what exactly is going on, because we can see even the incumbent Governor Jackson Mandago as part of the meeting.
Thank you very much. They're in studio, and indeed, as you can see, the incumbent Jackson Kiplagat Mandago has already seated down among other leaders, including Moiben, Member of Parliament, Silatiren, among other leaders. The leaders early this morning, they were complaining and they wanted the party primaries to be postponed, citing as a lack of preparation or unpreparedness in the exercise. A similar situation has been witnessed in the county of Nandi, Elgeyo Marakwet, and here in Uasin Gishu. They're complaining over inadequate materials and plots to rig in preferred candidates. I can give an example in Nandi where anti-riot police dispersed processing youth who burnt tires along streets yesterday night. But here in Uasin Gishu, the leaders who were accompanied earlier in the morning by their supporters called for postponement of the primaries.
All right, Elvis, just hold that thought. We're coming back to you. Let's just listen into what the leaders are saying.
Haya, kitu ya pili ande twende haraka patakizo chini subcounty ayenga bas pagmiga sisi tumundoro tumundogo ametiki goje raja sisi kage tarini pagmiga sisi
All right, Elvis, it seems like emotions are running high in that particular meeting.
Yes, Akisa, and led by the area governor Jackson Mandago, the leaders are blaming the party officials for failing to ensure that the primaries are conducted in a fair manner. The leaders are wondering how the officials could allow what I could say
To be losing Elvis, but in totality, what Elvis is saying is that more than 300 aspirants from Uasin Gishu County and led by the incumbent Governor Jackson Mandago want the nomination exercise to be postponed. They have cited unpreparedness and plots to rig in preferred candidates in that particular exercise. Let's just listen into the current speaker there in Uasin Gishu County. All right, that is Uasin Gishu County. There seems to be a very big problem in North Rift.
There is a serious problem because if you look at again the arrangement within Jubilee, is that it was expected, and in my view, that there are strongholds because now Uasin Gishu is the stronghold of one of the Jubilee principals, that is His Excellency the Deputy President. And this still, in my view, speaks about their preparedness to be able to undertake an exercise that would not only win back the support of the region, because you note that they are facing very stiff and serious competition from other parties.
Yeah.
And Uasin Gishu is more or less like a cosmopolitan area, because this is Eldoret town, where you expect almost all the Kenyans in the country to be represented, as it were. But given what the leaders are saying, you can easily tell that if ODM or any other party wanted to take advantage, then already this is a very soft spot. It is a soft ground for them to be able to come in. And 330 aspirants meeting together to be able to make a disheartening statement to the party is not a small thing, especially on a very important day like today. It still speaks to the preparedness of the Jubilee officials, and I think it is wrong for them to be making statements from Nairobi. And sad, as opposed to what we saw happening with ODM, because in as much as there was similar issues happening with ODM, but you could see after a short while, you could see Madam Pareno coming on screen, or at least to try and calm the people and to assure them that we are in touch with your people and we are on top of things here. But you don't see that happening.
Well, to be fair, the National Elections Board has just called for a press conference at 1 p.m. at Pangani, where their headquarters are. So we will be expecting some of these issues to be addressed there. But we've spoken about their unpreparedness, their inadequate voting materials. But something else comes out of that particular meeting, plots to rig in preferred candidates. This is not the first time we are hearing these claims. Even during the campaigns, you have seen disappearances of candidates. And we've been wondering why this is not happening to people in other parties. We've seen these claims of favorism in that particular party. What do you make of this?
That is expected for political parties, and because this is a very strong competitive process. So you expect that candidates will be kidnapped, others will kidnap themselves, some will try to self-assassinate. So these are incidences that are expected to happen in any political contestation. But how that therefore plays insofar as mis-ills or vices within political parties, like favoritism, is something that, moving on, we need to begin to look at as a country, and not only just as political parties, because then ultimately the leader who gets into whatever position is the one that is going to serve the people. And whether you are the right person or the wrong person, regardless of how you made it to that point, the most important thing is public participation processes and how political parties communicate to the people. In Migori, for example, they were saying, how can a few people just sit and call off nominations? We've been here the whole night waiting for them, and then suddenly they send us SMSs. And the same thing is what is happening. Like we have already seen and we can still see in Eldoret.
All right.
So that communication is not very clear.
Let's go to Kajiado, something even more interesting. In Ngong, which is in Kajiado County, there has been a standoff after there was an attempt to break into a stall that was housing ballot papers. Let's speak to our reporter, Agnes Penda, for more information on the same. She's joining us by way of phone. Good morning, Penda. What exactly is happening in Ngong? All right, we seem to have lost her, but we will get back to that so that we can get those updates. Apparently, there was a standoff in Ngong, which is in Kajiado County, where there was an attempt to break into a store that had where ballot papers and ballot boxes had been preserved. And I'm imagining emotions are running high in Ngong right now. But Agnes Penda will be giving us an update on the same. And of course, whether there has been communication from any of the officials there about that particular incident. I understand we have her. Good morning, Agnes. We are understanding that there was an attempt to break into a stall that housed ballot boxes and ballot papers.
Oh, actually, what has happened is we are at Ololeza High School, where the ballot papers are actually somewhere here. The people have been preventing the drivers from getting out and releasing them in the areas because they're saying that they were diverted here last night. They're supposed to have been taken to Kajiado, where it is a central place that they're supposed to be dispersed to their other polling stations. But that did not happen. They were taken here, and that's the issue that people are having with it. And they're saying that it seems like they were tampered with. They're saying that some ballots have been marked, and they're saying that some politicians or some aspirants are behind the whole thing. So the people around here in Ngong have actually camped outside the gate and up to the area where the ballots are, and they've said that they're not going to let anyone leave until that is resolved as of now.
Have we had any communication from the party officials down on the ground?
No, right now, they are actually, all the aspirants are holed up in a meeting at the same place. They've just arrived. And we have also just arrived in this place. So we are trying to find our way and trying to find out whom exactly to talk to that can give us the right information. But the people around are saying that that is the reason why they're not allowing anyone to get out of the compound with the ballots, because it seems like they've already decided that they've already been marked and people have already voted, even if it has not been officially done. So in all the areas that you are in today, from early morning in Kitengela, Isinya, no voting had taken place up to now. And the people are saying that it seems like it may not take place. So we are going to get in touch with you as we get more information from the officials right now here in Ngong.
All right. Agnes Penda, thank you very much for that. She closes it for us with the updates. But Linda Ogutu is coming in next with the news center. But remember, Kevin Asido has been with me in studio. Kevin, let's just comment on this last update we've gotten from Agnes Spender, voting has not begun in Kajiado County and residents have blocked officials from taking out the material with the claims that we've heard from Penda.
And if we do not, I like, as I said earlier on, the vigilance of the citizens. We have, for instance, been having meetings with the various county commissioners to assess security preparedness as county governance watch, and we are impressed by the degree of security measures that have been put in place. Because if we do not take note of those kind of issues, then what is happening in Kajiado would be a replica of what would be expected to take place in all the other countries, because people get tired. If you stay in a polling station for a whole night waiting for an exercise that your leaders have talked very nicely about, you have been assured about the levels of preparedness, and you're excited about it. Probably some of them are fast voters, and they have been there waiting, and suddenly nothing is happening. It's almost 10:30 and nothing is going on. Then you expect that people will get tired, and so emotions will begin to rise, and energy levels will also, some will go very high, others will get very low, and you expect that people will then want to vent.
All right, and of course, those are live pictures we're bringing you from Eldoret after that meeting by aspirants. But you have mentioned the vigilance of citizens. Does this say that Kenyans are growing in terms of maturity in politics?
Precisely, because as time goes by, we are beginning to move to the levels of not only looking at our leaders from individual perspective, but issue-based politics. And if, like the kind of, we've been running what we call county election dialogue series in various counties, and the kind of debates that people are even generating within those town hall meetings are very impressive. And I think that it's a good sign as we move on with our democracy. But I think given what is happening on actual days like today, which is a nomination day within political parties and nothing is going on, then I see a disconnect.